All right, guys, come on in. Just find a seat wherever.
Back in like 7, 8, 9, right? 6, 7, 8. You take that class? I think I took like a month of it, and I don't remember what happened, but for one reason or another, I dipped out.
All right, guys, we got plenty of seats up front here. Oh, Miss Inman, yeah. Just like Uncle Buck, he does. Let me check in, make sure we're ready to live stream. You good to go? Do you want me to give you a thumbs up when we're going, or do you want to just tell me when you're ready? Oh, we're going. I have the volume down. You should start up. Okay, let's do it. Hey, good afternoon, Rangers. Thank you for joining us today, whether you are here in person or in your classroom through our live stream feed. We have a special presenter today, being that we are approaching prom season. Also, I've had the opportunity to watch many of you as you are working on your driver's permit, showing up with your parents in the morning, switching spots. I know we got some new drivers in the mix, but also we got summertime coming, and summertime with a driver's license typically means lots of freedom. But with that said, I don't think it's any surprise to many of us in here that we've had some incidents lately involving members of the Nordoff family, whether we're talking current or we're talking past, that unfortunately offer some tragic reminders of what driving can be if not done safely. But without getting too much into our 2008 graduate from Nordoff High School and current firefighter, please welcome Dan Landis.
How about now? A little bit better. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you guys for having me here. My name is Dan Landis, for everyone that remembers me back in high school. But I am an engineer for the Oxnard City Fire Department. And so what I do every day is I get to drive a fire engine. It's a pretty fantastic job. I was born and raised right here in the Ojai Valley. I am a Ranger. I went to Nordoff High School. I did all 4 years of my high school time here. Had a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Right after Nordoff, I went to Ventura College. Ventura College gave me a emergency medical technician certification. And what that did was it let me apply for jobs in the emergency response world, right? So I could do things like ambulance work, fire department, hospital, stuff like that. So with that certification, the first thing I did is I went and got a job down in Oxnard at the ambulance company down there. It's called Gold Coast Ambulance, and I started running emergency responses, all kinds of different stuff. Not only car crashes, but you name it, shooting, stabbing, heart attack, overdose, we see it all, right? So I did 2 years there, and I was actually going back to Ventura College to work on a paramedic license, which is a higher level of training, and I got the phone call to come and join the Oxnard Fire Department. So that was back in 2012. I spent 3 years riding in the backseat in the role of firefighter. Had a fantastic time. I really enjoyed it a whole lot. Got to do and see some pretty awesome stuff. And then in 2015, I promoted to the rank of engineer. And engineer, like I mentioned a moment ago, is driving. So it's my job to drive and do all of the apparatus stuff that comes with that responsibility. In addition to my normal duties, I've had the opportunity to get involved in some special programs. I was a rescue swimmer with our department for 4 years, responding to all kinds of different emergencies out in the ocean. I'm currently a specialist on our hazardous materials team. Maybe credit to Dr. Sidhu for her chemistry class back in the day. A couple people are nodding and smiling. But I get to respond to all kinds of chemical releases, chemical spills, manage that throughout the entire county. I am also one of our tactical EMTs for the SWAT team call-out. So anytime the SWAT team is activated in Oxnard, I can be responsible for providing medical care to everybody on scene. One of the other things that I enjoy doing as part of my fire responsibilities are traveling pretty much statewide for brush fires. Most people in here remember the Thomas Fire? A little bit? Yeah. Just a little bit? Yeah, me too. So anytime something like the Thomas Fire can happen statewide from San Diego to the Oregon border, I can get to go out and provide medical services to both firefighters and communities across the entire state. So I had the opportunity to do some pretty unique things, pretty fun stuff. Today we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about driving safety, what can go wrong, and the consequences of choices that we're making, right? So right off the top, who's responsible for your choices? I would imagine that everybody in this room considers themselves an adult. If you're not already an adult legally, you will be soon, right? That will mean you are taking responsibility, taking ownership of the choices you make. And not only those choices, but those consequences, right? Who you go see, where you hang out, what time you get up, all these things, right? Your parents probably aren't making these choices for anymore. You are. Teachers aren't making these choices. You are. This is part of becoming an adult, right? The choices you make can have consequences, especially when they're behind the wheel of a car. The math, my friends, is not good. 2020 was the last year that we had data available for teenage driving statistics. 2,700 kids, students, high school students died. So that breaks down to 7 high school students that died yesterday. 7 high school students are going to die today. 7 more tomorrow, and then the day after that. And it keeps going on, right? Amongst that group, a third of them had alcohol in their system. It's not good. Gentlemen in the room, you are twice as likely to pass away in a traffic accident than your female friends, by the math. The most dangerous days to be on the road, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's probably not too big of a surprise, right? I can keep putting up numbers and statistics and facts and figures, but when I was in high school, not all that long ago, numbers and statistics happened to somebody else. That didn't happen to me, right? Nothing ever happened to me. Let's put a face to this. This guy doesn't look all that different from most of you in this room. He's an 18-year-old kid in Florida. This gentleman made the choice to get into his car and see how fast he could drive. He chose to try to record a TikTok video while he was behind the wheel. The choices that he made that day killed 6 people. People that do no longer have their mom, their dad, their sister. They're gone because of the choices that he made. The choices that he made behind the wheel had very, very big consequences. All right, but that's in Florida. Well, a little closer to home. This is the 101 freeway in North Oxnard. My fire station responds to this piece of freeway. This was a sedan driving out of Ventura towards Oxnard, high rate of speed, and they clipped another vehicle on the 101 freeway and they rolled. What happens usually when you roll your car is that everyone inside gets trapped. The car collapses down on top of them, kind of like you're being inside a Coke can that you're crushing, right? So the fire department, we show up, shut down the freeway, get all of our tools, all of our equipment, get it out, start cutting away little bits of the car, trying to get these people out, trying to help them. Fortunately, there wasn't anything we could do for this driver or the other driver, actually. They both died. The choice that this driver made to drive too fast at night, beyond their experience level, killed 2 people. That used to be a Jeep. That's on the other end of town. That's going down towards the beach. We all like to jump in our car, go down to the beach for the day, right? Enjoy ourselves, hang out with our friends. Someone wasn't paying attention and they crossed the center median. They crossed the divider. What that means on PCH is you're getting in a head-on collision at freeway speeds. So you can probably tell this one rolled over also. This trapped 5 people inside that car. Again, fire department shows up, trying to take the car apart piece by piece, using their jaws of life, spread it open, cut the folks out. Sometimes we're there in time. Sometimes there's nothing we can do. 1 person died inside this car. Right? The choices they made to be driving while distracted, driving too fast, driving on the weekends, right? We saw how those are the most dangerous days. Big consequences for this one. This picture's a little bit tough to see. I might have a laser pointer here. There we go. You can see a little car right there and a telephone pole above it. But this call I ran myself, actually. And I gotta say that cutting high school students out of cars is one of my least favorite things to do at work. It's not fun. It's not pleasant work. But this student on this particular evening went for a drive with his girlfriend. He was in one car, she was in another, and they thought it would be a good idea to race each other. What ended up happening is the boyfriend lost control of his car, sideswiped that telephone pole, you can kind of see there, and died. He died inside his car that night. The sadder part was that the girlfriend didn't know. She continued down to their meeting point. Someone had to go find her later, tell her that her boyfriend did not survive their little racing outing. So we show up, trying to get this individual out of their car. The problem was that these power lines were still energized. All right, so we had live power lines hanging down across the top of his car that he had crashed into that telephone pole. Tricky rescue, right? So we finally get Edison to come out, shut the power down, finally start cutting his car apart, peeling him out of there. Nothing we could do. His choice to go racing, to try to show off. I'm going to be cool, I'm going to race. No. That had a big price tag that night, right? Paid a lot. Paid a lot for that choice. Very, very big consequence. So, what do all these tragedies have in common? These are all lost if we don't learn from them, right? The only way that this has value for anybody under any circumstances is if we, the day after, the week after, the month after, we try to go back and we learn. We learn what went wrong, what we can do better. How do we not end up in one of those cars, right? Someone throw a hand up. What do they all have in common? Nobody, nothing. Yeah, what do you got? They all made a choice? Yeah, that's a good one. One more in the back, yeah. Alcohol, maybe. Alcohol's a big one. Anyone else? We got a few. Yeah. People lost their lives. Absolutely. These are all very good answers. This is the list I came up with. It's hard to know exactly what was going on inside a car. 10 seconds before the crash, 10 minutes before the crash, who knows? Inexperience is the first one that jumps out for me. I remember being a high school age driver and thinking I was good. I got news for you. You're not that good. It's not that you did wrong. It's not that you're a bad driver per se. You're just new, right? You don't have enough time behind the wheel to always make a good decision. So that first one, inexperience, you're not getting away from that. It's nothing you can do for, 10 years? Maybe more? Nighttime and weekend driving. 2 of the 3 pictures I found were at the middle of the night, right? At least sunset. Makes everything more dangerous, makes your reaction time longer. If something bad happens on the road and you need to make an input into your steering wheel, you have less time to make that decision before something bad happens. Not using seatbelts. I was shocked and disappointed that this is even on the list from the research that I did, right? I can't imagine why on earth you would not wear a seatbelt. Let me tell you, if the chances of survival inside the car are bad, if you're not wearing a seatbelt, you don't stay inside the car. You get ejected out of the car. And if it's tough to survive inside, it's way tougher to survive when you have been ejected 20, 30, 40 feet down the road. That only happens because you don't wear a seatbelt, right? I can't imagine getting into a vehicle not putting a seatbelt on, right? It's so sad that it's even on this list. Distracted driving. Oof. Checked your phone, stoplight. That's a choice. That's a choice you're making. You're saying to everyone, not only yourself, everyone else in that car and everybody else on the road, that whatever little post or picture or video, that's more important than their life. Right? The kid from Florida that I showed earlier, he's got to go sit in front of those people's family that he killed. He said, my TikTok was more important than your husband's life. That's quite a choice. That's quite a choice that he's going to have to live with that consequence probably for the rest of his life. How about speeding? It's fun to drive fast, right? It's fun until it's not. It's fun until you're upside down, asking the fire department to try to cut the dashboard off your legs because you're trapped underneath. That's not good. How about substances? Who's ever heard a friend say, oh, I've only had 1 beer, I can drive? You don't have to raise your hand, but have you heard it? Yeah? Someone's heard it. Is that a risk you're willing to take? Your chances of a fatal car crash just went up 33%. Right? Substances are a little bit broader these days than just alcohol. Weed's a problem. Pills, pretty much of any kind. Anything that's going to adjust your frame of mind even a little bit is a choice that you are making. You're making that choice to use whatever drug of choice and get behind the wheel. Your parents aren't making that choice, or your teachers aren't making that choice for it. You're making that choice. So how many of these are you going to get in the car with? We already talked about number 1, inexperience. You already checked 1 out of 6. 1 box is checked. How many more are you going to add? You okay getting in with 1 beer? You okay getting in with your driver on the phone? You okay getting in with all those and they're driving fast? I'm not. I know what can happen when this goes wrong. And now you've seen a little bit. You've seen just a couple of them. Because this happens all the time. Right? So how many are we okay with? Hopefully 0. Hopefully just an experience. Can't get away with that one. I don't know how else to say it as directly as possible. Making a bad choice behind the wheel of a car can get you killed. Maybe worse, gets your friends killed. Right? Definitely a possibility of killing someone else on the road. How about that DUI number? Got a spare $10,000? I don't. It's a big fine. Question? The question is, do you pay the fine if you die during a DUI? I'm not sure. I don't want to find out. I'll Google it later and get back to you. I'm not sure. All right. Above and beyond the DUI ticket, how long do you think that student in Florida is going to prison for? Killing 6 people, huh? Long time. He's probably not going to prom. He's probably not having a very fun summer, or the summer after that, or whatever his family was looking to do with him for the next 25 years to life, right? That's a big price tag for that choice he made. And then the last one I put here, does anyone in here feel like their car is a little bit of their ticket to freedom, a little bit out of their house, out of the neighborhood, out of whatever? Yeah, I know I did. Losing that meant a whole lot to me when I was in high school. So if nothing else matters, don't want to lose your car, all right? So my hope after listening to me talk up here for the better part of 20 minutes, driving can be dangerous, right? The choices we make behind the wheel, and it might not be, it might be the choice we make to get in the car. It might be the choice to say, hey, yeah, you're fine to drive. You only had 1 beer. That's a choice. The choices we make can have big consequences. They can reach far outside this week, far outside this semester, far outside this summer. Be a big problem. So my advice to you guys would be to take care of yourself, take care of your friends. Hold yourself accountable. Hold your friends accountable. All right? And then in closing, keep these goals in mind. It's tough sometimes to see beyond finals or your summer job or whatever's on the horizon for you guys. But bad choices behind the wheel can take not only that away, but so much more. All right? So it's my hope that you guys do make as responsible choices as you can. Keep each other safe. Keep yourself safe, and everyone have a good summer.
So we got about 5 more minutes before we're done here. I know that Dan was willing to take any questions that anybody might have for him. So do we have any questions for Mr. Landis? Anything that, any experiences that you want him to elaborate on, or any other questions about the consequences of unsafe driving? Okay, we got one right up here, and then I'll come to you.
That's dangerous. What's like a good, like, to not go too speedy, but like on the freeway or something, when it has like a directed mile per hour like you should be going, what's like an okay number to go over that? Like, how much over can you go? No, like if it's like you go like a 65 but you go like 70.
Okay, I think the question is, how many miles over the speed limit do you recommend, Mr. Landis?
0.
So let me phrase it like this. Every mile that you go over, your reaction time is less. The amount of kinetic energy. Anyone here take physics? Kinetic energy? No one takes physics? We'll come back. We'll circle back to that later. The crashes get worse the faster you go. So it's not about what I tell you. I'm not going to be in the passenger seat coaching you through any of this. This is a choice that you will be making. The faster you go, the worse the potential crash, right? Also, you could very well get a ticket. You probably have other stuff to spend your money on than a ticket. So don't speed.
Okay, we got a question over here.
Depending on what vehicle you have, can it increase how dangerous an incident can be?
Yeah, very good question. So the question was, can your car have an impact on the severity of the crash? Absolutely. Older cars, typically heavier, worse brakes, worse airbags, worse crash survivability profile. Newer cars are far better. In terms of the size, I mean, one's going to be a hammer, one's going to be a nail, right? Generally, big cars survive a little bit better, but you can get killed in anything, to be honest with you. But newer cars, yeah, fire truck's the best option. Newer cars generally survive much better than older cars. But
Got a question in the back
one
here
more in the back.
first.
Yes, please.
Yeah, hello. So my question is, would you say that like the effects of a crash can extend beyond just like physical injuries? Like, would you say there's a lot of like psychological trauma associated, even if you're not like physically harmed?
Absolutely. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that question.
Yeah.
So the ripple effects, right? It lasts a lot longer than just the crash day. Absolutely. My role in the fire response is typically in that first 15, 20, 30 minutes of response. But I absolutely know people that are pretty scared to get in a car after a bad crash. Once you've rolled over on the freeway, you think twice about getting back into a car, and yeah, it can absolutely last quite a while. The mental consequences for sure.
All right, unfortunately, we are out of time. The bell's about to ring. What I would like you guys to do, though, hold on, is that we would appreciate your help in grabbing the chair that you're sitting in and stacking it up over